They told you it was chemistry. That mysterious spark, the butterflies in your stomach, the sudden rush of blood that makes your heart pound whenever that one person enters the room. They told you it was destiny, a force greater than logic, the universe whispering that you've finally found the one. You've felt it before. How a single smile can live in your head for days. How a text message at midnight can feel like oxygen. How your body seems to react faster than your mind. It feels electric, intoxicating, undeniable. And so you believe what the world has taught you, that this intensity is love, that this obsession is proof of connection. But Carl Jung would tell you a darker truth. He would say, be careful. What you call chemistry may not be love at all. It may be projection. Because when your heart races and your thoughts fixate on someone you barely know, it isn't always because of who they are. It's because of what they represent. Jung believed that powerful attraction often says less about the other person and more about the hidden parts of yourself. The wounds you carry, the desires you've repressed, the parts of you that have never been made whole. Think about it. Have you ever been drawn to someone who you knew wasn't good for you? Someone toxic, unavailable, or even cruel? And yet, no matter how much your rational mind tried to resist, the pull felt stronger than logic? That isn't fate. That isn't magic. That is your unconscious, reaching out desperately for a missing piece, mistaking another human being for your own completion. The illusion of chemistry is powerful precisely because it feels so real. But Jung's warning is chilling. You may not be falling in love with them. You may be falling in love with your shadow. If chemistry is not what we think, then what is it? Jung believed that hidden deep inside every person lives an unconscious opposite. For men, it is the anima, the feminine energy within. For women, it is the animus, the masculine energy within. These are not just poetic ideas. They are powerful, emotional forces inside us, carrying all the traits we've rejected, suppressed, or never developed in ourselves. And here's where the trap begins. When we meet someone who reflects these hidden qualities, the psyche lights up like a storm. Suddenly, you don't just like them, you feel consumed by them. You tell yourself, they're different, they're special. I've never felt this way before. But what you're really feeling is not them, it's you. You are falling in love with a reflection of your unconscious, projected onto another person. The intensity is so overwhelming because it feels like homecoming, like you've finally been reunited with the part of yourself you didn't even know you lost. And yet, there is danger in this illusion. When attraction comes not from wholeness, but from shadow, you are not choosing freely. You are being chosen by your wound. Think about how terrifying that is. Every look across the room, every spark of desire, every irresistible pull might not be your choice at all. It might be the unconscious making the decision for you, pulling the strings while you believe you're in control. This is why chemistry can feel so irrational. Why you can be drawn to someone who hurts you. Why you can't stop thinking about someone who doesn't even think of you. The unconscious doesn't care about your happiness. It only cares about completion. And so you don't fall in love with them. You fall in love with the missing part of yourself they seem to carry. Jung called this projection, and it is the most seductive trick the psyche ever plays. Because in the moment, it feels like destiny. But in reality, you are staring into a mirror, not a soulmate. Why is it that obsession feels so much like love? Why does the person you can't stop thinking about feel like oxygen in your lungs, even when deep down you know they may destroy you? Jung would say it's because the unconscious has mistaken them for completion. Your psyche sees them not as they are, but as the missing puzzle piece you've been searching for all your life. This is why attraction can feel more powerful than reason. You know the relationship is dangerous, or doomed, or even humiliating, but still, you can't let go. Every message, every kiss, every glance becomes a hit of a drug stronger than anything chemical. You feel addicted, restless, haunted. You replay conversations in your mind, analyzing every detail, as though hidden inside their words is the key to your salvation. But that intensity is not love. It's compulsion. It's the unconscious screaming, here it is. Here's your chance to heal the old wound. And so you chase them, not because of who they are, but because of what they represent. They are not your partner. They are your battlefield. This is why obsession never feels peaceful. It feels like fire, like chaos, like a storm you can't walk away from. Because you not just drawn to them, you trapped by the wound they awaken in you. And the more unavailable they are, the more the wound festers, the more you crave them. Logic says stop. The unconscious says, no, we must finish this story. Now imagine a world where seduction is not just instinct, but weaponized, where people, knowingly or not, learn to mirror the deepest desires of others. Jung warned that if a man has never confronted his anima, the feminine part of his psyche, then he is not choosing women. He is being chosen by his wound. And if a woman knows how to reflect that anima back to him, whether consciously or unconsciously, she becomes irresistible. Think about it. Some women don't dominate men through aggression, but through reflection. By becoming his fantasy, his missing piece, his unconscious dream, he doesn't fall in love with her. He falls in love with the version of himself she reflects back. And so he calls it love, devotion, even fate. But in reality, he has surrendered to his shadow. The same is true in reverse. A woman who has never met her animus, the inner masculine, will be drawn to men who reflect it. Not because he is right for her, but because her unconscious insists he is the one who will make her whole. She will swear she has found passion, but what she has found is projection. And this is where seduction becomes terrifying. Because when desire is built on wounds, it doesn't lead to love. It leads to obsession, domination, and destruction. The person who seems like your savior may only be a mirror. And the more you chase that mirror, the more you lose yourself. Let me give you a story that reveals how deep this pattern runs. There was a man, successful, respected, intelligent. On the outside, he had everything people chase: wealth, status, admiration. But when it came to love, he was caught in a loop he couldn't escape. Every woman he fell for rejected him emotionally. One left him for someone else. Another ghosted him after a night of intimacy. Another mocked him when he finally opened up. Different women, same story. He knew it was unhealthy. He even told his friends, "She's not good for me. I shouldn't go back." But he always did. Again and again. He found himself chasing women who left him feeling small, unseen, and unwanted. Why? Jung would say it wasn't about the women at all. It was about his mother. This man grew up with a distant, cold mother. She wasn't cruel, but she was absent, emotionally unavailable. She never showed him warmth. She never made him feel chosen. As a child, he felt invisible, and that pain carved itself into his psyche. So now, as an adult, his unconscious was trying to rewrite the story. Every time he met a woman who reminded him of that rejection, his psyche lit up. This is it. If I can win her love, I'll finally heal the wound. But of course, he never did, because she wasn't his mother. And love built on trauma doesn't heal, it repeats. He wasn't chasing women. He was chasing his mother's ghost. The same pattern haunts women. Over and over, many women ask the same painful question: why am I only attracted to men who hurt me? They meet a kind man, a stable man, someone who offers love freely, and they feel nothing. But when a man is cold, distant, emotionally unavailable, suddenly the fire ignites. The more he ignores her, the more she craves him. Why does pain feel like passion? The answer lies in programming. Many women grow up in homes where love is conditional. Maybe their father was absent, or maybe he was there but inconsistent, sometimes warm, sometimes cold, always leaving her unsure. That uncertainty became the definition of love. And now, as an adult, when a man withdraws affection, her unconscious says, "This feels familiar. This is love. Let's fix it this time." So she chases, not because of who he is, but because of who he reminds her of. He becomes a mirror, a stand-in for her earliest heartbreak. Her attraction is not to the man in front of her, but to the unfinished story behind her. And no matter how many times the ending breaks her heart, she cannot stop chasing. Because her unconscious still believes, against all logic, that if she can earn love this time, the wound will finally close. This cycle of choosing the same kind of person again and again is what Jung and later psychologists called the repetition compulsion. It's the unconscious urge to recreate the same story, to replay the same heartbreak, to step into the same trap, hoping that this time the ending will be different. You may think you're choosing freely, but really, you're just casting actors for a play your unconscious has already written. That's why people say, "Why do I always fall for the same type?" It's not fate. It's not bad luck. It's your psyche seeking to resolve an unfinished story. And here is the darkest part. Attraction in these cases is not about the person at all. It's about the emotion they bring out of you. You're not addicted to them. You're addicted to the wound they represent. That's why you can feel magnetized to someone who makes you miserable, while feeling nothing for someone who could love you well. Your unconscious is not looking for peace. It's looking for familiarity. Jung warned that until you make the unconscious conscious, it will rule your life, and you will call it fate. You'll tell yourself stories like, I just have a type, or it's chemistry, or love is supposed to hurt. But the truth is far darker. You are not in love. You are in a loop. But not everyone enters this loop passively. Some people learn to weaponize it. They realize that desire can be manipulated, that sexuality can control someone more effectively than logic, words, or power. And so they begin to play roles, not out of malice, but out of pain. A woman, for example, who never received safe affection may discover that by withholding intimacy, but offering intense seduction, she can make men chase her endlessly. She becomes the fantasy, not the person. Men fall at her feet, believing they are in love, but really they are addicted to the mirror she is holding up. For her, this control feels like life itself. It gives back the power she lost long ago. And men can weaponize this too. A man who feels powerless in his inner world may learn that he can dominate through charm, mystery, or emotional withdrawal. He withholds love like it's a prize, knowing that for certain women, especially those shaped by absence, his coldness will not push them away, but pull them in. He doesn't offer real connection. He offers a performance, and her unconscious plays along. This is the dark theater of attraction, not two people meeting with open hearts, but two wounds colliding, each trying to rewrite their story through the other. The passion is real, the intensity undeniable, but it isn't love. It's psychological domination disguised as romance. And the more intoxicating it feels, the more dangerous it truly is. Now we arrive at the trap, the place where so many lives quietly collapse. The truth is, the most toxic relationships are often the hardest to leave. Not because they are filled with love, but because they are bound by trauma. When your unconscious locks onto someone who represents your wound, the attraction becomes magnetic. It feels unbreakable. You may tell yourself, this is passion. This is what love is supposed to feel like. But Jung would warn you, that spark you re-mistaking for destiny might just be your past screaming through your present. It's not a sign of alignment. It's a warning. Imagine two puppets pulled by invisible strings. Neither one sees the strings, but both feel the tension. They dance, they collide, they pull closer and push away, all while believing they are acting freely. But in truth, the strings of old wounds are moving them. That is what desire looks like when it is driven by the shadow. The tragedy is this: the more pain the relationship creates, the stronger the bond can feel. Because each rejection, each betrayal, each heartbreak reawakens the familiar wound, and the unconscious whispers, stay. Try again. This time you'll win. It is not love. It is survival instinct tangled with fantasy. And unless you see the strings for what they are, you will call it fate, while the trap quietly tightens around you. So how do you break free? Jung believed the only way out was through a process he called individuation. This is the work of making the unconscious conscious, of facing the anima, the animus, the shadow, and integrating them into the self. Until you do that, you are not really choosing who you love. You are being chosen by your wound. Individuation is not about rejecting desire. It is about questioning it. When you feel pulled towards someone, ask yourself, what do they awaken in me? What do they remind me of? Do I feel safe with them, or just addicted? Attraction from wholeness feels calm, grounded, steady. Attraction from shadow feels like chaos, fire, and obsession. One is love, the other is compulsion. The path is not easy. It requires looking into the darkest corners of yourself, the loneliness, the rejection, the childhood pain, and bringing those pieces home. Because once you integrate them, the spell breaks. You stop chasing the person who mirrors your wound, and you begin to choose the person who reflects your healing. This is what Jung meant when he said that real love cannot exist without awareness. Only when you know your shadow can you stop confusing trauma with passion. Only then can you love freely. Not because you need someone to complete you, but because you are whole, and you choose to share that wholeness with another. Here's what most people never realize. Real love doesn't always arrive with fireworks. It doesn't always feel like lightning striking your nervous system. In fact, when you've lived your whole life in emotional chaos, real love might feel strange, even boring at first. Think about it. If your nervous system has been trained to expect storms, then peace will feel foreign. Calmness will feel suspicious. Stability will feel empty. But that is the illusion of trauma. The truth is, love isn't meant to keep you guessing. It isn't meant to leave you anxious, checking your phone, wondering if you're enough. Real love feels safe. It feels steady. It feels like truth. The people who reflect your healing may not make your heart race in panic, but they will bring you peace. They will ground you. They will stay. And though your shadow may at first whisper, "This is too quiet. This is boring," give it time. Because peace is not boring. It is foreign until you make it your home. This is the shift Jung wanted us to make. To stop confusing obsession with love. To stop mistaking chaos for chemistry. To realize that the person who makes you feel calm, centered, and safe may actually be the one your soul has been searching for all along. So here is the darkest truth about sexual attraction. You don't always desire who is good for you. You desire who completes your unfinished story. And sometimes that story is a tragedy. Jung's warning is clear. Until you make the unconscious conscious, it will rule your life, and you will keep calling it fate. But there is hope. When you begin to face your shadow, when you listen to the parts of you still screaming from the past, when you heal what you've carried for so long, you break the spell. You stop chasing ghosts. You stop mistaking pain for passion. And you finally begin to love freely, out of wholeness instead of hunger. So before you fall in love with them, fall in love with yourself, especially with the wounded parts you've been running from. Heal them, integrate them, bring them home. And then, when love comes, it won't be chaos disguised as destiny. It will be truth. If this message struck something deep in you, if it made you rethink the relationships you've chased in the past, then make sure to like this video so it can reach others who need it too. Leave a comment below with the biggest realization you've had or the cycle you've broken free from. And if you know someone who keeps falling for the same destructive patterns, share this with them. We're not just building a channel, we're building awareness. And remember, you don't attract what you want. You attract what you haven't healed. Make that healing your power. If this video opened your eyes, don't forget to hit the like button. It helps this message reach more people who need it. And if you're ready for more deep dives into psychology and self-awareness, make sure to subscribe and join this community. We're not just building a channel, we're building awareness, one truth at a time.